Hey, I'm Mr. Gen X, and I'm here at one of my favorite spots in all of Gilbert, Arizona. This is the Riparian Water Preserve, and it's right here in the middle of suburban Gilbert. We've got this beautiful oasis here in the desert, and we're going to feed ducks later, but I want to talk about three practical tips that I've learned from the Stoic philosophers that has helped me as a Gen Xer in the later years not make myself absolutely crazy. So the first tip I've learned from Stoic philosophy on keeping myself or helping with all the stress and all the things going on in the world burning down around us is from Marcus Aurelius, who is the emperor, who's a Roman emperor. And I know it's a lot easier to be Stoic when you're the Roman emperor.
It's good to be the king.
But he had plagues, and I would imagine that the constant threat of having somebody want to kill you would make things a little bit more stressful than the average Roman would have had it. That explains why on a lot of the videos that I've done, I'm taking a walk. So, and this is very helpful for me just to be able to talk to you and to be able to communicate, because I'm one of those type, I think as a Gen Xer, I'm at that age where people just seem to ruin everything. I mean, you go to the beach and it's a really great place to be, but people ruin it. But getting out and taking a walk, just getting a break, whether you're in Phoenix and it has to be early in the morning or later in the day because it's getting too hot. Things haven't heated up too much yet here today. It's probably going to be about 105 here, which is not too bad for Mesa, Arizona. But just getting out and taking a walk in the neighborhood, or if you've got a nature preserve like this where you can walk around, this is really, really helpful to clear your mind, just get away from everything, forget about all the crap that's going on and just take a walk. What's cool here is they have mental health tips. So I know for myself, getting out and being able to take a walk around, even if I can't get here to the preserve, walking around really helps clear the head, really helps keep me centered. So now the second practical tip that I got from Stoic philosophy that I think can help you also keep you from driving yourself crazy is to only focus on what we can control. Focusing on something we don't have control over, we can't change it, we might as well focus on what we can control and focus on making that better. Do what we can to resolve the situation, focused on just what we can control. Because it doesn't make any sense, and it's just going to make us crazy to focus on things that we cannot control. So I know Seneca wrote about that in Marcus Aurelius. Focus on what you can control and improve on that. So for example, I have no control over the fact that there are no ducks here. There's only been a handful of ducks. I don't know where the ducks are, and I would like to feed the ducks today, but I don't have control over that. So all I could do is I can look, and maybe on the other side, that's where the ducks are hiding. I know for myself, once I stopped focusing on things that I could not control, things really started to improve. So, and that's like when I'm taking a walk like this, and I'm focused on what I need to do for the day, or just going over my mind, problems that need to be resolved that just keep coming up, like my house, my kitchen. So I know for myself, when I stopped focusing on things I could not change, things got better. And so I'm not perfect. I mean, the world is burning around us. I have more problems now. Life is more difficult than ever before, but because I'm not focusing so much on what I cannot change and focusing more on what I can change, I'm handling it better and working more on solutions to improving our lot in life. And so far, it's doing a lot better. Things are as bad as they've ever been, probably the worst, but I am handling it much, much better. And the third practical tip that I learned from Stoic philosophy, and also paraphrased by the one and only Mark Twain, is to not go over everything in your head in every scenario and make yourself crazy. I did that for a long time, and I was in a really, really bad spot mentally. And so Mark Twain is basically paraphrasing Seneca, which was the old Stoic philosopher, when he was saying that there have been thousands of tragedies in my life, and a handful of them actually happened. And that is so true. One of the worst things that I did, and I'll go into this in another video, is because of COVID, I lost most of my business, and I was working from home, and it was very necessary for me to work from home because I have a child with special needs. and I was able to be there for her all day, well, when she wasn't at school. And she's here to help feed the ducks, so she's a little disappointed we can't find any, so you can see that. But I had to get a job, one of the worst jobs ever. I had to actually work as a Gen Xer, had to go into retail. I wasn't the only one there. A lot of us from Gen X were there because the way things were during the pandemic. And it was, I mean, my gosh, having my own business and going to making minimum wage, because I mentioned in another video, I couldn't get a job anywhere. I could not get a job in my field. I went and I finished, I got my degree. It's absolutely useless to me as a Gen Xer because I'm just too damn old in my mid-50s. I'm too old.
Why are you so old?
Nobody wants to give me a chance. Nobody will hire me. It's got to be that I do this like I did my whole life practically. It has to be on my own. And what I would do is from the night before I had to go into a shift, and I started at 5 in the morning on the dock, 5 in the morning. All I would do from the night before is go over and over in my head how much I couldn't stand it, how unfair life was, how I should be working for myself, I should be making a heck of a lot more money, I shouldn't be in my mid-50s making minimum wage at a job where they know I can't get anything else. And they take advantage of us that way. They knew I couldn't get, that's why I was there. I was only there because I couldn't get anything else. And so I'd get in my car and I'd keep going in my head how much I couldn't stand working there, how much I hated that job, how much I hated my situation. And I'd go through all these different things in my head, and I made it probably 100 times worse than it really needed to be. It was bad, and I eventually was able to get work with a friend in a totally unrelated field, a lot less stress. So the same money, almost the same money I would make in my regular field with my degree, but 100 times less stress. Not nearly as stressful, so it's a much more enjoyable job that way. But that is definitely something I think a lot of us do. I know it made me crazy. I had to stop doing that. I absolutely had to stop going through and making up all these scenarios in my head. Like Mark Twain said, thousands of tragedies, only a handful actually happen. So we do it to ourselves. And that's something that, for like tip number 2, that's something we can control. We don't have all the control over our circumstances. Like I can't find any ducks, you can see. Can't find many ducks to feed. But I have control over how I respond to it and how I react to that situation. So don't make yourself crazy by running over these scenarios in your head and making it so much worse than it actually is. So those are the 3 practical tips from the Stoic philosophers that have helped me and can help you keep from making yourself crazy, because that's what we tend to do. We did find some birds. We found some birds.